Hey everybody, my name is John Capobianco, and I've been asked, and it was a good idea, to see if I could add loading spinners. Because there is some time when you click buttons that you're waiting for responses from the database or for pyATS to capture the data. And I've done just that using JavaScript, CSS, Ajax, all kinds of new front-end tools I haven't used before or haven't used in 20 years. And let's just take a look. So I'm not going to show you the code right now. I'm going to do a deep code dive, but let's just take a look at this in action. All right, so let me show you. If I go to the On-Demand Center, now you have to look real quick, but there's a spinner there and it disappeared. But that's not the spinner that I'm worried about. I have these buttons. Now let me click one that I haven't added a spinner on. So I click the button and you can see it spinning up here for sure. And you can see that the code is running here. And when it's done, it takes you to a page to let you know it's done. Well, I thought I could do better than that. I'm not sure why it's running again. Anyhow, it didn't fire off again, did it? No. Okay, so now I've added the spinner to this get all. So let's check this out. I'm going to click the get all. There is my spinner. Now I have it in the center of the page. I should put it underneath the table here, or maybe put a column here and put the spinner right here. I don't know. I'm going to move the spin, and it's done. Meaning the job is complete. Let's do it again. Get all, there's the spinner. And the job is running. And as soon as the job finishes, the spinner stops spinning. Which means I don't need to take you to another page anymore. I can just have the spinner do its job. Isn't that incredible? So the spinner is working. Now don't dismiss this. This was hard. This was very, very hard. And I'm really happy I got it working. So again, I'll record something later on how it was done. Thanks very much. Hey everybody. Let's take a look at the code. There are a lot of little pieces that connect. So I'm going to do a tour of these little pieces, show you what I have working, and then maybe try to recreate it with another button that maybe you can connect some of these dots if you see it done. So bear with me. I'm going to do my best. This is brand new to me. So what we have now is when I click the Get All button, you're going to see a spinning status wheel here now, showing that it's running. And off it goes. And then when it stops, the wheel will stop spinning. And I don't need to move away from this page anymore. Wonderful, just wonderful. So how is this done? All right, so bear with me here. Let me close some things. We're going to start with the main HTML file, our base file. Now, we've included a new script here, and I'm going to show you where to find this script, and it's a little tricky. You can get it from my repository, obviously, but let me show you where to get this script from. So what you need to do is Google Ajax jQuery. Okay? So that's what we want, is Ajax jQuery. Now where to find it is in the Ajax schools. Here, and then just pick any one of them and do a try it yourself. Now this line here is where you want this script from, or my repository. Okay, now the next script we need, now that is a JS script, the jQuery JavaScript. The next thing we need is a link, not a script, to a style sheet from the Bootstrap. Okay, so now again with the Google, if we go back to Google here and Google Bootstrap spinners, it will take you to their spinners library. And this is where you're going to get the code for your spinner. You're going to pick the color you want, where you want it located on the screen, if you want it to look like a spinner or a dot, if you want it right inside of your button. So, okay, so far so good. We have those two external elements brought into our header, our head section of our base HTML. While we're here, we're also going to include, right, we've already had our own style sheet, which we do need to adjust. We're going to change this as well. And we're going to add something new, our own main.javascript. So every other subsequent page, because they're inheriting this page, extends, is going to have those scripts available to them. So while we're here, here is my button, get all button. Now that's important. I gave it an ID. We need this ID so that we can work with it in Ajax and in JavaScript. Now it is a spinner box, deflex, and by default, I don't want it showing up on the screen, so not visible. Okay, so far so good. And then, right, we set our class and hidden. This comes from the Bootstrap copy paste. So far so good. So now we need to look at, right, what happens when they click this button? We have a button here. What do we want to do with it? Well, that is now, instead of going to be in the HTML page, we are going to put it in our main JavaScript. Now, this is our JavaScript for that get all button dot click. And we do a function E and prevent the default. Then we call Ajax and say we want to do an HTTP get, and we want to go get that all result, which is the trigger in Django to run the pyATS all results job. Now, before we send it, let's remove the not visible and make it spin. But as soon as we get the success response, then make it not visible again. Now, where does this not visible? What is this doing? Well, it's actually in our style sheets. We define it as not visible, display as none, and that's what we're toggling to hide or present the spinner. Okay, so I'm going to put a breakpoint in the video. That is the code tour. If you need to rewind it and watch it again, that's the code tour. From here on, I'm going to try to make some more buttons with spinners, or spinners to match my buttons. All right, stay tuned. I hope you're enjoying this. Okay, so let's take a look at how this is done. I did one as a dry run, and it's very easy. There's only two files we have to update. Our on-demand HTML page, the page that we're working on, our HTML, and the main.javascript. That's it. That's all we have to touch right now, which is wicked. So let's look at the on-demand. I've already gone ahead and done this. Now all I've done is added a status column, a third column to our table, and in that third column, I've given it a name, the division itself a name, Learn VLAN spinner, right? The button is Learn VLAN button or Learn VRF button, show version button. That's our button in the second column. And then in the third column, we have the actual spinners that we want to toggle whether or not they're visible, and they're not by default. Now I've alternated the colors. So this first one is primary or blue, and then warning, like the Merlin colors, yellow and blue. So they'll alternate in the tables as well. So now I'm going to split screen and keep this over here so you can see these anchor points. Really, it's these IDs, the button and the spinner. That's it. So now in our main.js, well, we need to start with our constants. And really the constants are, an appropriate name. Document, get element by ID, and then our division IDs, these spinner IDs. Those are our constants. And then we have to, and let's write it from scratch for our third button, right? So the button name, the function is learn VRF button, and that's a dot click. And then we have a function E. And then right here, we have to, let me just drop that down. Where's that coming from? Now we have to open up the brackets here, and we're going to say e.prevent default, and then we're going to go into Ajax and open up our logic for Ajax and say the type, well, that's a get, and our URL in this case is /on-demand learn vrf result. And right before we send, meaning while it's waiting, we're going to have a function. And what we're going to do is learn vrf spinnerbox.classlist.remove not visible to get rid of the visibility of that. Now, I missed a comma here. I missed a comma here because we're not done. We need to say when it's successful, when the function responds to us with a success. All right, let's turn it off. Now I'll add error handling later. I should also do a .error and print an error message or something. But for now, I'm a bit of a cowboy and I'm not too worried about the errors. So now in theory, we should have this new function when we click the button that displays a spinner for the learn vrf. So let's just make sure everything's running and restart our server just in case. Everything looks good. Okay, let's try learn vrf. And let me do this like this so we can see the function run here, learn vrf. I want to be patient. Is everything saved? Oh, there's something wrong here with the code. Hang on. I see I missed that. Haha, gotta close the function. Gotta close the function. All right, let's try this again. Excuse me. Learn vrf. Why is nothing happening? Do I have the wrong URL here maybe? Let me try my other functions and see if I have spinners. Nothing seems to be firing up anymore. What about the old show version? Okay, there's learn v. I'm not sure. I had to restart my server again there. Something was cached maybe in the HTML page. That's likely what it was cached. So that's, yeah, that one was yellow. This one should be blue. Hey, and it's blue. Okay, sorry, geez, I panic. It's just a cache issue. So now I have blue, yellow, blue, and then we just made the spinner. So let's finish off the page and do the show version. And that should stop spinning on success. Why is that still spinning? Did I miss something here? Oh, yep, that's my mistake. You see, it's never the code. It's never the code. Or it's never, right, it does work. It's just bad. I typed in the wrong thing here. So now let's start our server again. Let's refresh our page and let's try that again. Now it should disappear. Again, that's why we test all these things. You never know. Little mistakes here and there cost you. So now it should, there we go, it disappears. Okay, moving on. Moving right along, let's do the show version command. Now I already have all the buttons over here. It's called show version and show version spinner. And I'm not going to type all that. I did that for your benefit last time. We're just going to do this rapidly and show you how quickly it is once you have working code. So that becomes show version. This becomes show version. This becomes show version. And that's really it. I should just be able to restart the server, refresh my page so it's not cached or anything, okay? And now let's try show version. There's a yellow spinner. There's the code running. And there's the code running. And the spinner should disappear when it finishes. So now all of these buttons have spinners. Now what happens if I click a couple buttons? Who knows? Let's try it. Click that one, click that one, click that one, click that one. It works. It's asynchronous. So then they start to disappear as the jobs finish. Look at that. Look at that. Unbelievable. Okay, I was not expecting that. So that's the buttons and the spinners in waiting time. Unbelievable. Thanks so much for your support. We'll see you real soon. I hope you're enjoying these videos.